Hey, I'm Diego Sanchez, COO of HousingWire, and I am live from HousingWire Annual. It's been a really dynamic event so far, and I'm here with Baron Silverstein, who just graced the stage with Sarah Wheeler, our editor-in-chief. You're the president of NewRez. Thank you so much for joining me on this live edition of 10 Minute Talks.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Really, really great to have you. And so before we dive in, I'd love for you to give a 30-second introduction of yourself, your background, and then the NewRez business.
I've been in mortgages my entire career. It's 30 now, going on 35 years. I like to joke that mortgage years is kind of like dog years, so I've probably been in the business for 70. I started out working at Bear Stearns. I was there for almost 20 years, and then I was at B of A for another 11 before I joined NewRez. Now, I've known Mike Nierenberg, who's the chairman and CEO. I've worked for Mike Nierenberg for 27 years prior to him moving over to Fortress and running Rhythm. And we obviously stayed in touch ever since he left B of A. And I covered Rhythm as part of my role at B of A. And when he acquired New Penn Financial and he acquired Shell Point Mortgage Servicing, they began the process of creating the company that we know today called NewRez. And the gentleman who was running those two businesses was retiring, and he happens to be a personal friend of mine, Bruce Williams. And and Mike asked me to come and join. And for me, for my entire career, just being in mortgage trading, being in mortgage securitization, being in mortgage conduit and origination businesses, it was really from my perspective, it was a really exciting next chapter for my career. So, I was really excited to kind of step into the seat. And while it's been incredibly volatile, it's been fun at times. It's been also pretty hard at times.
I bet.
And I can't do it without my team, and Mike's provided me just a tremendous amount of guidance and advice, and enjoyed it. It's good. It's really
so let's dive in on. You mentioned a couple of acquisitions, and you've done a couple more since those initial acquisitions, including Caliber back in 21.
Yep.
That was a big acquisition, but there's others. So it's a platform that has been built partially through acquisitions. What is the acquisition strategy? What's your overall M&A strategy? And do you think it's working out how you wanted it to?
Yeah, look, what's interesting about the platform, and I think that there are other competitors of ours that are always kind of looking at different opportunities. And I think that from our perspective, we're always looking at that opportunity set and what can otherwise be accretive for our business. And if you think about the Caliber acquisition, provided us a large MSR portfolio that we were looking to grow, but also at the same time, Caliber was very, very good at their wholesale business, their distributed retail business. They also had a strong direct-to-consumer business. And what it provided to us was, provided us a lot more strength into our origination platform, at that time, right? Obviously, we're talking about 2021, the market's materially different now. And, from and how we looked at the business overall, the transaction was servicing based, but, we knew that there were core assets on the origination side and key members of Caliber that would strengthen what I would call the NewRez platform from an origination perspective. And that was really, we felt like it was an accretive business for us. And, it improved our technology from our LOS perspective. It just added a lot of different benefits for us to try to do that transaction. And then when you fast forward to our announcement from last week with SLS, Computer Share Servicing, U.S. servicing business, it's the key factor in this was all about third-party accounts. So we currently sub-service, special service on behalf of about 45 accounts today, just under 100 billion notional, and We almost doubled our third-party business through the acquisition of SLS. SLS was a competitor of ours, and they also provide, from our perspective, different strategies, different attachment points on how they attach to third-party servicing. That said, we actually think we're best in the business as well, and we think the customers that are coming into our ecosystem will benefit from being part of our process, our ecosystem, and then on top of that, to the extent that we have a true third-party sub-servicing clients, from the acquisition of SLS, and we can provide recapture services and any origination services that they may otherwise need. So, we feel that's a business that we want to continue to grow in and continue to expand. And that's a core strategy for us on 24 and beyond.
I want to hit servicing in a minute. I want to start with origination.
Sure.
With the Caliber acquisition, I assume you're now a top 10 lender?
Yeah. I mean, look, correspondent is a key strategy for us. Again, it comes down to MSR acquisition and how we think about the market. And in today's environment, we're about 60% of our production is correspondent. So, and that's not going to change. Like we're going to continue to acquire customers. It's a very cost-effective manner to acquire customers as opposed to necessarily buying leads. And that will continue to be a key strategy for us. And the other channels, in a market like we're in right now, it is very much trying to basically manage costs, manage expenses, and really be ready for whatever the next cycle is going to be there for us. And we're taking this opportunity now to really strengthen kind of, I would say, is our connectivity. So we've renewed our Salesforce licenses. They've been a great partner with us in trying to basically have Salesforce as being our customer 360 all the way downstream to all of our sales teams, and then connect, all of our servicing leads that we get, meaning I'm not talking about servicing leads that we're buying, but triggers that we would otherwise get that our customers are thinking about doing things or considering stuff or making sure that we're passing, whatever servicing lead we have from our 3 million customers, and they can go downstream to our sales force, wherever they otherwise sit, whether it's in DTC, distributed retail, wholesale, or partnerships and brokers. And that's how we think about our servicing portfolio and delivering leads downstream.
So on stage just now, at one point in your chat with Sarah, you said it's all about servicing right now. Can you expand a little bit on that? We've talked a lot about servicing already, but it seems like you're thinking a lot about it.
Yeah, we do think a lot about servicing, and we look at it in really two ways. One, which is what I just talked about, in basically having servicing being the connectivity to our origination business, especially given the size of our servicing portfolio, 3 million customers, and then going to 3.7 with the SLS acquisition. But, secondarily is that, we're very much about customer service. So if you think about our core DNA through Shell Point Mortgage Servicing, it's all about our third-party clients, but also about their homeowners that we serviced on behalf of, and providing a service depending upon what the customer needed. When we specialized in special servicing, which means helping consumers stay in their home, and that's a core premise of the platform that we're in. So as we basically started to get into what we call own servicing and starting to service on behalf of Fannie and Freddie and Ginnie, and then even acquiring more of those MSRs, a lot of the MSRs, say, came from Caliber, and now some of the MSRs came from SLS, is like, how do we basically connect with those customers? And how do we make those customers feel good about being part of our overall servicing ecosystem and our servicing platform? So they understand the value that we can provide to them, but also what can we do for our customers as well, so they can basically know that we are there to help them for whatever their journey takes them in their home ownership.
Yep.
And that could be a home equity loan, that could be a cash out refinance, that could be a second home, and that could be selling their house, purchasing their house, realtor referrals, anything like that. So wherever the customer's home ownership journey is, they know that NewRez can
the whole
be
life
there.
cycle.
That's right. And it's not just, and I want to be clear, right? This goes to our partners as well. This is not NewRez is bringing everything in-house. Like, what distributed retail is really, really unbelievable at is that customer connectivity, but they also have their partnership connectivity. Their partnership connectivity is their realtor relationships, their builder relationships, right, as well as their consumer relationships that they have. Mm-hmm. And then how do we basically foster all of that through our servicing portfolio so we can basically, strengthen our entire platform. So, we kind of think about it as an entire ecosystem, but as opposed to everything is always origination. Our view is it starts with servicing, right? It's 90 days to close a loan, and then you're done. It's 30 years with the consumer on the servicing side. How do we make that experience great, and they want to stay within our platform?
So there are other big servicers who are making a lot of noise about $1 trillion in MSRs. I mean, is that interesting to you in terms of being a number, or is it more like what are you thinking about in terms of acquisition of MSRs?
Yeah, so we don't have a number. For us, it's responsible growth, strategic growth, and how we think about our platform overall. I think the company you're talking about, Jay does an incredible job running Mr. Cooper, and they're a client of ours. But I would just say, we think about the business. I don't necessarily think about market share or growth to a number, right? I want to make sure that we are focused on, our customer service for the customers we have in house right now are 3 million customers. And, every month, as an example, even in the slowest prepays we've ever seen, we still have 15,000 customers that pay off every month, right? And if I sat there and said, okay, how do I get those customers? Granted, there are all different reasons why people are paying off in a market like this, but how do I get those customers who are actually looking to move or potentially refinancing, cash out, and so forth, right? How do I get them to stay within our ecosystem? And if I could take my recapture rate and I can basically add on another 10%, right? That's a meaningful market share change for our platform and for our business. And that's the key for us. Think about how do we basically create an infrastructure, an ecosystem that people feel good about NewRez, and when they're thinking about what their mortgage options are, or their lifestyle, or however they're thinking about acquiring a different home, that they think about NewRez, right? And NewRez partners, right? Which would include our realtor relationships, our broker relationships, and that's what I want people to think about.
Amazing. Well, Barrett, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a pleasure.
Diego, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of 10 Minute Talks. If you want to stay up to date on all things housing, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and drop a like and a comment below if you enjoyed this video.